What is going on, people? We are back in the building. Is this episode 53 or is that incorrect, Quinny? I feel like this is 54, isn't it?
I would say 54.
I think it was 54. For some reason, it's not updated on Twitch. But we are live on Twitch. For anyone that's locked in live right now, welcome. Welcome to the chat. A lot of gang in the chat. So thanks for being here bright and early. Anyone listening on Quinny's YouTube in the future from now, make sure like, subscribe, drop some comments. And if you are listening via any of the podcast services, like, subscribe, comment, review, all of the good stuff. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Quinny is here as ever, my sparring partner. How you doing, sir?
Good, mate. I'm walking on sunshine. It's the last midweek for the hoops for the Celts, and I went to bed last night top, kind of knowing I wasn't going to stay top because I kind of looked at the leaderboard and there was like a couple of guys with some cards that would probably catch me as I slept, which has happened. But Opta have, not been kind to me either. I've also lost 7 points off my score, which is horrid. So I'm sitting in second, and I'm quite hopeful I can hang in with the podium. And I've got to say, like, the top prize, if I did finish top, that would have been huge. Because when I started off that team in that division, it was all about winning old tier 1 super rares, which is now tier 2s. And that is secured to 5th place, so I should almost certainly pull one of my best rewards that I've pulled with that team this season, which is great going into the weekend. And it wasn't really that buff of a Celtic team, which makes it extra sweet. It was a proper FC Barcelona team, because I wasn't that confident on the Celtic lineup. I only stuck with McGregor and Hatate, and they combined Stish. I don't know if you've seen it. I tweeted it out, but McGregor get absolutely cut in half in the box, won a penalty, and I was like, hope maybe McGregor takes it, maybe O takes it. Could have been a number of people. But little 41, Rio Hatate picks up the ball to take the penalty. Couldn't believe it. So that locked in a double decisive in like half an hour of the match or something. So we were just walking on sunshine and jumping up and down. Gabri Vega didn't do too good on the Tuesday night, it must be said. But anyone, Stish, who has ever talked down watching your goalkeeper has not lived, because the goalkeeper was the last player in my team. Big Soria, away to Betis. Betis are trying to fight to stay in Europe, the European positions. Getafe are fighting for their life at the bottom of the table. I only managed to catch, just by watching the Celtic game beforehand and travelling and whatever, the last half an hour. But that is living, watching your goalkeeper pull out a clean sheet against like a fully motivated team that went down to 10 men. And then Getafe were pulling out all the Spanish La Liga dark arts of time wasting and all that good stuff. Sorry, I got booked in the 82nd minute to lose me 3 points. And I was thinking, he's maybe shaved a wee bit of AA off that I really need. And then I tweeted it out. 97th minute, big man with a nice high claim right at the end. He made a few wee saves before the end, but that was the last action of the match. He just comes up for it. Boom, big high claim. And we're not going to get a goalkeeper smother, but he did smother it down. I was like, big sorry, seeing the game out, holding that clean sheet down. And he brought in high 60s before multipliers and all the rest of it. Good score from him. So, yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. And coming into the weekend, like, the Celtic team should be stronger. A lot of my other cards, obviously, that, I had a lot of stuff moving on. I'm kind of running away with it right from the beginning, Stish, but I had guys come back from injury at the weekend. I had a lot, not even the weekend, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, guys that had, returning from injury come off the bench and such. So they could get minutes at the weekend, could be viable in some 220s or some kickoffs. Some of those fun teams might have a wee bit more chance of having something going on interesting. So, yeah, really sore airlines in terms of the competition. I know we've got tons of development stuff to go into today, but in terms of the end product, it's definitely, I'm long overdue some good stuff myself. You've been reigning in the podiums. Tony's been doing great when he's been around as well. And finally, I'm getting a wee piece of action for the first time since February, it feels like. So, buzzing, mate.
Yeah, that is looking good, man. I was just having a little look at your score and what's going on around you. And you sat on 417 points, which I think this is quite a thin midweek as well, isn't it? There's, apart from the Spanish fixtures, everything else is a little bit dotted around the odd fixtures here and there. I had two sort of goalkeeper options for this midweek. Xander Clark, who obviously had the fixture against Rangers, which he did okay in, to be fair. He scored 45. I was expecting him to, like maybe at best scrape me a 15 points or something like that. But he managed to do okay. So he's left me some hope of a little bit of midweek end product, just sort of chasing that cap 240 threshold now, but that really depends on Koulibaly playing against Man United tonight, and I don't expect him to start. So I need about 52 from him. So I'm not expecting much there. And yeah, that I think Barcelona's result in the midweek kind of ruined any chances of my all-star rare team doing any real damage on the leaderboard. So actually, strangely enough, I think my best chance of any M product, and this will take us nicely into something I wanted to talk to you about. I had 2 uniques playing midweek, but no super rare goalkeepers or anything, so I couldn't really make any good use of them. So I've stuck them in an academy team together. So Seko playing for Grasshoppers and Dylan Levitt, who came in off the bench for Dundee United. And I put them in a team with Sancho and Rodrigo. Rodrigo got a goal. And I was looking at sort of the current standings, and if that team can manage to scrape together anything north of about 260 points, it might actually land a $5 ETH reward in the academy, which, the top 500 places can win $5. And I had a look at the weekend just prior to see like what kind of scores does it take to not necessarily win the division, because I think unless you've got all the legends and the uniques and that, you're not really looking at trying to win the academy. That is something that maybe the big whale accounts are likely to be gunning for on a weekend with any kind of uniques they're not using, legend cards, etc. But what I do think is a viable entry there for a lot of us to shove a team in, see if it wins a $5. And I think, I've got 2 players left to play. If they have better than average games, I might get lucky, might end up with a little $5 reward in the midweek. But that'll lead me nicely onto something I tweeted earlier. I would love to pick your brains and the brains of anyone in the chat. This weekend, I've had absolutely zero luck, joy with any of my legends entries since I started using them, right? So I've got 4 limited legends and I've got 2 rare legends. I've got Casillas Porto card. So I've got Porto goalkeeper. I've got Baresi rare defender, so AC Milan defender. And then my options in midfield are Laudrup or Zidane, so Juventus or Bayern. And then I've got the 2 Ajax forwards, Cruyff and Van Basten. Instead of using them in legends this weekend, I'm putting a full team of legends into the academy just to try and win $5, because I'm not having any joy in the actual legends tournaments against people who are able to maybe put a unique in there or a super rare or rare legend cards. My limiteds just never seem to hit when they need to hit. So my thinking is bang them in the academy. If they hit decent scores, which if they're all legends, they should be capable of that, right? Barring maybe the goalkeeper is going to need a clean sheet. But if they all score over 60, 70, then I should have $5 at my disposal at the end of the game week. What do you make of that strategy? And do you hold any legends? Is it something you've considered?
I like legends, but I've just never got the time to. So the goalkeepers is the problem, because I know it's not conventional wisdom, but I would get a legend keeper as the entry for legends, if that makes sense. I would probably play 2 outfielders that were known. So because it is only Casillas, and even there's Casillas and there's maybe another one that I'm forgetting, but like the options are very limited. And there's Casillas Real Madrid, there's Casillas Porto, and there might be a third keeper, but I can't remember. So yeah, I've never really dabbled with it too much. But I think the academy play, like if you have them, you're not winning in legends anyway. Then definitely it seems like an experiment I would do, for sure, because why not, really? I think maybe I don't know. Listening to the build out you've got there, I think maybe it's I don't know. Like I think it's maybe then, because with legends, obviously there is only so many clubs actually available, to be legendized. It's maybe then just the other pieces you're putting around those guys, and then it is like they say, like you're saying there, it's the field that are maybe getting you. Like they play a unique defender because it's spare, and why the fuck not? And, those kind of things go against you. But So I don't really know, mate. I can't really comment too much. Whenever I look at Legends again, what puts me off actually going out and picking them up, because I know exactly the ones I would get out of fandom, so guys I liked as a kid, is when I look at the price pool, there's like 30 cards or something. It's not a big, I don't know what division I'm even thinking about there off the top of my head, but like I don't look at the price pool there and go, oh, there's actually like tons of cards on offer. It's, it's something, but it's not like, oh, this looks fantastic, let me go get a team for it right away.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd kind of jumped in when I saw that when they sort of announced that, because initially legend cards can only win other legends in that tournament. So I thought, I'm not that bothered about that, unless you kind of like treat it like an ETH scraping, kind of trying to almost treat it like another threshold, and sell the rewards. But when they announced that they were going to be giving out like actual rewards, I noticed that first week, I think the winner won a Jude Bellingham rare, and I was like, wow, that is massive. If you just need a couple of rare legends, why not? So I went in and got the Casillas and the Baresi legend cards just to give me an entry. Like you said, if I've got the goalkeeper, I've got the entry there, and it's not taken away from one of my other like teams really. The only thing with a goalkeeper is it doesn't have quite the kind of like the overpowered stretch that an outfielded legend has, where any given defender card could come from 5 different players on the pitch on that. Whereas the goalkeeper is still like, can only be one player. It's only one player playing in goal. So unless Porto keep a clean sheet, it may as well, you could even put another goalkeeper in who has a better chance if you target him. But I never really target that division. I do in limited because I've got the 2 Ajax forwards. So if Ajax have got a good fixture, I should be like right up there with anyone else that's probably doing exactly the same thing as me. But as we mentioned on here before, I've never had much joy in that. For some reason, it's almost like a jinx. I'll put the 2 Ajax forwards and either Laudrup or Zidane in the middle, and then I'll put what I believe to be my strongest goalkeeper and strongest defender in. Juranovic has been put in there so many times, but he just like never plays whenever I use him, like to the point that he's a jinx. I just won't use him now. I think last week I thought, he didn't play the previous game week. All of the sort of lineup predictions had him to start, and I thought, he probably will start. They've got 2 games left. He's a great option at right back as well for them, so why wouldn't he play? And he just don't play whenever I use him. And then I think I had Philip Cohn in goal, and he didn't play either, so it was just like completely wiped me out. So I would have probably been better off last week just putting them in academy with a couple of other players that could put a score up. But I just think because I don't ever really target that division, I'm thinking, may as well just bang them in academy this week and just see. At least I know that none of them will DMP, so I'll at least get.
You'll be fighting.
If I can get, I should be close to the top 500. Do you know what I mean? I should be able to get close to that. But I just wonder if there's anyone else doing it out there, because I'm sure anyone with big collections who's got a lot of legends can only use so many legends in those tournaments anyway. So they're probably, they've probably made that $5 minimum every week since this started. I'm not sure if I 100% agree with the way that the things are weighted a little bit. But I keep thinking about it, and I think, is it weighted in the hands of the whales a little bit? It is, but also I think these whales accounts and like galleries are worth like £1 million+ or whatever. Maybe I'm expecting a bit much if I think I should be able to compete for that like top prize in the academy against someone who's got 5 uniques fielded. They probably should be allowed that, and like given the opportunity to try and win a $5 for most of us, I think should be welcome. Maybe, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I think maybe we do need to them.
Yeah, I say it's not. When it first came out, when I seen it on the announcement, I thought, oh wow, like, is this something you would maybe, like I say, put into your priority reckoning? But seeing the numbers and how it all pans out, of course, that's just I don't think it's something that, even getting a $5 out of it, I don't think it's anything that can be realistically kind of like targeted. But like you say, and like we kind of spoke about with Legends, there's a few comments that we should probably bring into this as well. But yeah, I don't know if it's something that's I don't know if it's something that can really take up strategy space or priority space, if that makes sense. But if you're not winning anyway in Legends, and it feels like there's definitely an opportunity to be got there, because like one of the great comments that's in there, I think it's Sorare Josh, is like, when it comes to academy, there is no difference between rares and limiteds. So with you having kind of cross scarcity, maybe that's something to factor into your thinking as well, is like keep the rares maybe for the actual division or something. Because
I thought a bit of that. I think for the most part, it was just that they are legends. If I don't mix them, then I could enter in the legends tournament. But it's with the rares, it's almost impossible to win anything in that division unless you're mixing those 2 rare legends with 2 supers and a unique. And I don't really want to use my I only have like a few uniques at my disposal. My thinking with the legends is with my rare legends going into that Legend Pro, you are up against people who've got super rare legends, unique cards to mix up with them. And I'm not planning on using the uniques that I do have in that, because I'd rather use them in All-Star Super Rare, or in my case, U23 Super Rare. Especially at the minute, while I've still got some of I've only got like another week or 2 before I lose like my utility of like my Veerman Super Rare in U23, for example. My Florentine Super Rare's probably got 2 fixtures left in Russia. So I'm not planning on using unique Super Rares in Legends for that reason. So although they're not getting they're not getting any extra bonus for being rares in the academy, they're still legend cards, so they should score like a minimum of 60 points. Maybe not so much for the goalkeeper, but if I put 5 legend cards in a training team together, that team should be able to score over 300 points. And given last weekend's cut-off point for the top 500 was just over 300 points. So if that legends team can put up a 300-point score, they're going to win me a fiver, which is more than I've won with my legends cards all season. So that's my thinking. And like you said, it's not really like I'm targeting it. It's just that this is the last week I'm probably going to be able to do it with the cards that I've got, because the European season finishes. Let's see if I can scrape a little fiver out. Can't turn my nose up the opportunity to win a bit more Ethereum. I managed to get the 240 Super Rare threshold last weekend. That always feels nice on Super Rare as well. So been quite enjoying targeting those ETH rewards. And like Quinny, you mentioned your midweek team, you're going to get a nice extra bump if you can find yourself in amongst the top end of that All-Star Super Rare as well. You get that cash prize as well. It's really starts to make things look and feel a little bit nicer, doesn't it, when you've got that on top of the cards? Big up Jereth for the sub, by the way. Thank you. Good to see you, sir.
One of the first comments we've got in the live chat is probably one of the biggest end product events that's probably happening on the platform, and it's came in the announcement. We'll probably go through some of the stuff that was in the announcement, I suppose, as well. But the Golden Cap 270 division, Stish, I don't know if you've really poured over this or whatever, but when I opened it up properly, for the rare division especially, my mind was blown away at the prizes that they're giving away at it. And what I said to all the members that were joining me for it when we really cracked it open is, I've been building all these super rare teams and trying to get a wee cheeky unique and whatever for the hope of winning tier 1 old school, tier 1 and tier 0 super rares, new school tier 1, tier 2 super rares basically. And now in this cap 270 division, all rare entries, 270 cap, so limitations on how many power players you're going to get in there. XP and captain bonuses do come into it, of course, and collection bonuses will be coming into it this weekend, because that's meant to go live today at some point, and we'll see that reflected on site. So normally these things that are, I don't know, maybe about 4 to 6 o'clock, somewhere around there is where I would maybe think that happens today. But this division, if you've not looked at it, take 5 minutes and really look at it, because if you can even, obviously you can, depends on your gallery size and whatever, right? Maybe comes into it. But cap 270, you're not going to come across too many smash and grab them power stacks. These divisions are always won by cute picks, clever picks. And where we are at the season at the moment, some squads and some players are all in totally different positions. Again, people are telling me on the stream that the Zenit, the Russian Brazilians are all away on holiday. And I kind of heard little whispers of that here and there, so Zenit, some of these teams, they've not got all their kind of stars. Anyway, I digress. But this division, if you were to get lucky, and your team do come in on it, everyone's going to be going for it. Let's not kid around about it. But everyone only gets one entry for it. It's quite an understated point about Sorare, is you can only put one team in, So it doesn't matter how many cards you've got. And in this division, you are limited to what cards you can play in reality, you know, in terms of quality from 1 to 5, you know. There is, for the podium, not only star rares, which are legit stars now, like proper top ends, but you're then getting, for the podium, third and second, tier 2 supers. Even for the top 5, you're getting access to them. And they are old school tier 1s, which are starting goalkeepers, top end midfielder, striker, defenders, and well-known enough teams and all the rest of it. Decent guys, no two ways about it. If you did finish top, a tier 1 super rare on top of that, you know, which is old school, bottom half of the star pool, which is still like elite caliber guys, no two ways about it. And you don't need one super rare. You don't need one unique to play this. You need 5 rares, you know. So all the other scarcities, it's a great division. It's a great thing that they're doing this week. But for rares, which most people can maybe play this division, if you've got a keeper, you can definitely think about it. Then, wow, you know, huge opportunity this weekend in that sense.
Yeah, and you just got me looking at the Cap 270 in Super Rare as well, because I kind of done my team.
That's very exciting. But I thought, let's start with Rare, you know, because that's on offer to everyone. But
you
Super Rare is chunky.
I had a little look at the Rare pool, and like you said, there's some great rewards in there. And then I thought, oh, I wonder what's going on in the other scarcities. And obviously, Limited's got that boost in there as well.
Limited is incredible. Like, we go to Limited, right? So I'll give it a quick breakdown for anyone that's not seen it yet. I'm sure you're going to go and check it out on your phone as you're listening to us, of course, right? But to give you the spoiler, the podium is double star, rare limited, star doubles, you know, for both of them. You get star limiteds back to 12 with tier 1 rares, which is old school bottom half of the star pool anyway. So to get that with 5 limiteds again is crazy.
Yeah, that's a good prize, that. And oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's the All-Star. Yeah, it is good. I didn't really look at it properly until now. Not in terms of like what they were giving away, but yeah, those are some pretty exciting prize pools. I think the only sort of like the thinking now will be you've got 2 cards there. Where do you put your cards? Like, where's your main lineup going this weekend, Quinny? That's probably the best place to start. What are you putting your strongest team in this weekend?
Well, I am drafting and redrafting rare teams to go after this because, like, maybe it comes in, man. It's only going to be on for this one weekend in terms of this. You know, we've got this form of it, right? But also, like, my cards only have, a lot of them, Celtic cards only have 1 weekend left.
Yeah.
We're at home. We're getting the trophy. I know we've had 3 games in a row now without a win, which is the worst run we've been on in 2 years or whatever. But, you know, Saturday will be the strongest team that goes out. Say it's trophy day, blah, blah, blah. Aberdeen are no mugs either, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I'm looking at it, and because it is 270, you know, there is cheat code players that will fit into it, of course, but you're not going to get, there's not that many power fixtures if you do look across the fixture board, and it will be won by 5 individuals. You know, you've picked a guy that bangs 100 here, you've picked a goalkeeper that dropped an 80, you picked a defender that brought you in 75, and you had him at level 20, and you captained him, or blah, blah, blah. That's how the winning team will probably come around, I think, you know. And it's, do I have one of them? You know, so I don't know yet is my answer, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I done my teams quite early this week, and it was before I'd even noticed that there was any difference in 270. And 270 is never really one of those leagues that I go straight to. It's always like, at the moment, I'll go kind of All-Star, Rare Pro, U23 Pro, and then like the Super Rare divisions in those 2. And then I'll go maybe Cap 240, then maybe Cap 270 after that. So yeah, I think in terms of the prize pool's great. And, you know, like you mentioned, if you're trying to win a unique, there's a lot of uniques in that, especially in the Super Rare pool there.
Top 5.
Some really good unique prizes as well, you know, like in terms of the tiers. And the entries at the moment, there's 608 people entered Cap 240 Super. There's only 150. Where are we? Oh, I've lost it. 154 at the moment in Cap 270 Super Rare. I wonder if that will change between now and this time tomorrow. But it's got me really thinking, because I looked at my lineup this weekend, and I've decided, because it's the last game week for a lot of my cards that I'm actually getting any utility out of in U23, I'm kind of looking at that as like, this is my last shot at like super overpowered U23 team with a defensive stack of Lee Hanbom unique and Baek Jongbum in goal with a good fixture for Seoul. If they hit a clean sheet and Veerman goes on a rampage, I mean, he's got a slightly tougher fixture this weekend against Twente, I think. But still, like, this is last chance for me to lump all of those powers together. So do I lump them there, or do I lump them in 270 and aim higher? I don't know. It's a tough one. The only thing is, obviously, the difference is I can't use my unique in 270. So that is the main sticking point, is because I've got a really good, useful unique. Do I put them in maybe on the weekend where everyone's looking elsewhere? Potentially. I don't know. How many entries are there in U23, actually, looking at that? There's only 59 entries in U23 Super at the moment.
So the other part of this issue, which is one of my favourite parts about Sorare strategy, is if you don't prioritise it, then where do you try and catch other people out who have taken some power players out of some other divisions? And you think, right, well, I've maybe not got a 270 team because maybe some people are going to try really hard because it's really good prizes on it. So do maybe a couple of power cards come out of All-Star Pro, out of Under 23 Pro, or, you know, because these pro divisions, because they're super rare and rare, you know, there's maybe a wee bit more that some of those teams get dismantled to maybe accommodate one or two 270 lineups, you know. And you could say the same for limited as well, of course, but limited is the volume is incredible. It's hard to imagine it makes a difference.
I was actually, the way I was building myself this week was more rare and super rare, and like avoid the pro. My pro was almost like my weaker lineup, just like chuck them in and see what happens. Try and go heavy in rare and heavy in super. Some weeks that pays off for me, whereas, you know, like I've been quite fortunate in the pro divisions, the weeks that I have gone heavy in there. And, you know, I think since winning that Mbappe as well, it's like any team that you put him in, you feel like really strongly about the chances. And I think this weekend just gone, one thing I will say, like, this was my first experience as like an Mbappe holder, where I had a pretty strong score up to the point of the Sunday, and then Mbappe's playing Sunday night. And I'm like, sweet, you know, if an Mbappe captain. And then as soon as that game kicks off, you're up against about, I think there was about 10 of the sort of top end of the prize pool were all had Mbappe captain waiting on Sunday. So even though you're like, oh, you know, I might be able to do this, I might be able to do that, when I actually looked at it, I was only really competing with other people who all had exactly the same game plan as I did. Mbappe captain. So like we're all just kind of moving up and down together in the same order, because we can't leapfrog each other. And I was even got to the point where I'm like, wow, like I have like maybe a 2%, I'm 2% better off on my Mbappe than the person below. And little things like that came into, I was like, wow, this is what it's like to be an Mbappe holder. You're literally playing against people who've got Donnarumma and Mbappe in their team. So yeah, that was interesting. First time I've experienced that. But I think that's part of the reason I've started thinking for this week, maybe go rare, maybe put Mbappe in rare instead of rare pro. But yeah, I it's a great problem to have. Like winning Mbappe has given me a great. And again, like U23, this is the last game week. I'm probably going to be able to use Mbappe as a U23 until like the international fixtures in the middle of next month, and then that will be, I think, the last U23 Mbappe game time I'm going to get. So yeah, I think a part of me in the back of my head is like, let's rinse these U23s in U23 while I can, because this will be the last time. Just enjoy it while it lasts, maybe. But yeah, it's exciting. You got me excited for this Cap 270, Quinny. You've sold it to me now.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to try and get maybe one team in. I don't know what color, but like, you know, let's say the big thing for me when I opened it is these are the cards I've been getting super rares to try and win, and now there's people that are going to be trying to win them with no super rares. That's amazing for like people out there that like I've never had a sniff of these cards, like and. You know, like depending if your gallery's quite European based, like man, I'd be taking that chance. I remember game week 250 when I went to Spain and they did a special weekly. I forget the full thing around it all, but it was like all scarcities go in, and it was like they had uniques at the top, you know, so you could win uniques with limiteds, and it was a fucking madhouse. And I threw everything at it that week because it was like, hey man, you know, like it's on this week. Let's go for it. You know, I finished quite high. Me and John both, you know, but at the end of the video, if anyone hasn't watched it,
I remember the video. Yeah,
we're first and second at the end of the video. It's fucking unreal. You know, you couldn't have, you know, and then we later finished like, I can't remember, like 8th and 7th or something. Got some good cards out of it. But so anyway, when these things come around, man, I'm a big YOLO guy in that sense, where it's like, man, if you're interested in winning those cards, man, like you've got 5 rares at fit 270, then work it out. Is it viable? Maybe it's yellows, maybe it's blues, you know, whatever you're playing with, you know. But I suspect a lot of people are like yourself, Stish. You maybe just thought, oh, cool, cat modes, get a couple of cards in it, and wrote it off. But when you actually look at it and think about it, it's like, you know, in theory, easier than All-Star because you're not worried about the master combos that are out there. An All-Star Rare Pro, where you've got the hardcore professional players that are fine-tuning data and all that stuff every week to prune their team and all the rest of it. You don't need to worry about competing against them. It's all rares. You know what I mean? You're missing a card. You know, maybe it's not hard to get a 5th, you know, if you needed one.
All this chat has just had me for the first time ever gone into the squad builders on Sorare data, and I've done like my second draft. You know, like you can actually like do another.
Go into it. I'm going to get it to suggest mine. That's what I'm going
to do. Exactly what I was going to say. I'm going straight into my Golden Cap 270 limited and seeing what it thinks is my best lineup. And I mean, it looks quite strong. I would probably
see what yours is.
My one says in goal,
nice.
Osako, Tom High captain, Mark van der Marel, Michiel Kramer, and Javi Simons in limited. But I think, looking at that, he's a 49. I think my goalkeeper, I'd probably switch out for someone else just because. Actually, no, he's got a home fixture against Shonan, so that is actually a good fixture. Yeah, I mean that looks pretty decent to me. Tom High at home to go ahead all Eagles. Van der Marel at home against Emmen, but they're playing to stay up, so that might not be as easy as it looks on paper, that fixture. Yeah, interesting. That's cool though to see you can just do that. I wonder what it's gonna. I'm gonna have a look at what my Cap 270 would look like in each scarcity while we're on, and just it is interesting to just see what can come of this Golden Cap 270 super rare. I mean, that team looks good. This looks a good team. So Raphael in goal, who's got a 66% chance of a win, and I think a 40% chance of a clean sheet, which is 53% chance of a clean sheet. As a captain, so a 77.5% bonus on his score. Osmar in midfield, Pavel Boshnevics at the back, although he did miss last week's game, so I'd need to look and see if there's a reason why he missed that. Ole Romani up top and Jeremy Frimpong. That's quite a good team. Yeah, very, very tempted now. This Cap 270's got me captivated. Quinny.
Joe Ducey's got us on our history lessons. That game week 250 was the first iteration of specialists, basically, which was fun. The Cap 270 team that's thrown out for me was Sean Johnson, who's playing at home to DC, Guardiol, who's at home to Schalke, Wirtz, who's away to Bochum, Santi Rodriguez, who's at home to Philly. I don't think that's a great game. And then Jota. It feels like a baller of a team.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at my rare, it's thrown this at me. Now, listen to this one. And some of these have got 10% bonuses as well. So Donnarumma in goal. Joachim Anderson at the back at home to Nottingham Forest for Palace. Jamal Musiala, 10% bonus. Florian Wirtz, 10% bonus. And then captain, Kylian Mbappe. And that's bang on the 270. If you really wanted to go at it, that is a pretty good team to go at it with, I think. But I feel like the one thing I will say is there's not a lot of potential for that team to overscore because they're all like right at the top of the high cap. Sometimes you're better off getting a couple of low scorers in there and putting one that's going to bang. And my main worry there is Anderson because he's been mentioned to me a couple of times on like my team builders, like 240 and stuff. And I kept looking, I was like, I don't think that fixture for Anderson on current form is as good as a AAA fixture they have it down as. I think Palace could keep a clean sheet at home, but I don't think Anderson is in the greatest of form of late. He hasn't been putting up great SO5 scores. But yeah, super interesting. I know as soon as we finish this, I'm going to be tinkering all day with teams in a completely fresh draft, looking at this 270 a little bit more properly, I think. But yeah, I'm sure it'll have a lot of us tinkering for the next couple of days.
1000%.
Yeah. Quinny, one of the things that we mentioned off air that we wanted to bring up this week on the podcast was the announcement that Sorare made in the week about the mystery jersey drops in the club shop, which is finally we got in some of these physical rewards for the coins that we've all been stacking up since they launched not that long ago. They did kind of drop them on us. There was only 100 to claim. They were going to cost 10,000 coins each, which feels to me quite cheap for a jersey. But, only 100. You knew it was going to be one of the things where you have to be on the site the minute they drop. You got to be in there quick. They actually dropped at 3 p.m. yesterday, which was Wednesday for anyone listening in the future or today. So yesterday, Wednesday at 3 p.m. UK time, they dropped and they sold out in 39 seconds. And I was on the website because I figured out it was going to be 3 o'clock even before they started teasing. Everything seems to happen at 3 o'clock with Sorare. I said to my mates in the group message in the week, I was like, it'll happen at 3 o'clock. Then they started teasing all these sort of like things. People were like, it's going to be 3, it's going to be 3 or 4 o'clock European time. And it was 3 o'clock. Right there, knew I was going to be on the school run, had my phone in hand, refresh. I was there, I swear to God, within a split second.
Run. What a hero. Yeah.
Split second. And then I'm in there filling out my thing. So I think I was probably through within 20 seconds. And it was just like the ball was just spinning. I'm like, it's not gone through. Refresh, do it again. Not gone through. Then I've gone back into it, refreshed, and it was like sold out. I'm like, wow. I was after a medium shirt, so maybe the mediums were just sold out quicker, but the mediums were gone within 20 seconds, 100%. It might have been easier to do it on a desktop where you've got like that, where like your forms just auto fill out from Google or whatever. Maybe that might have worked. People could do that a bit quicker, but yeah, I think quite a positive to see that on the club shop. Did you give it a go, Quinny? Any joy there for you?
Yeah, I was like 2 minutes too late. Like sold out in 39 seconds. I was there 2 minutes later, so I was eating dust on that one.
But good to see that they're testing it out. Hopefully it goes without a hitch. People that did get lucky enough to claim one won't have to wait too long, and we can start seeing some of the shirts that people have actually won, whether any of them were signed. If they, be interesting to see what people do get from a mystery shirt drop. But for me, as someone who likes a football shirt and I don't really care what team it is, so long as it's not a Premier League club, I was buzzing about it and would have been very happy to have won a shirt for 10,000 coins. Yeah, they did say that was like an introductory price, so I don't think that there'll be 10,000 next time. But yeah, I think pretty positive to see that pop up on the club shop. Hopefully we get to see more things like it, football match tickets, that kind of stuff. I think they just maybe have to tweak the way that you claim so it's not always completely random. Obviously, when it comes to match tickets and that, you're going to have to travel. You're not going to want a random football ticket and then find out you can't get there on the date that you've claimed a ticket for or something like that, right? So things like that will be a little bit more nuanced, I think, than what we've experienced with the shirts. But fingers crossed, they can deliver. I don't know what the postage costs are like in France, but I've just been to the post office this morning to send 4 vinyl records, 3 to America and 1 to New Zealand, at a cost of £19 a piece. Like 100 football shirts is going to cost a lot of money for them to post around the world. So be interesting to see how things change, if at all. But yeah, pretty cool to see that. Quinny, what would you like to see in the club shop next? What would you most like to see in there with your coins?
Well, I think the mystery jersey stuff, we can see this probably, roll out a bit firmer, which would be nice. But I think what they'll probably want to get to at some point with this like tab is it's always got stuff in it, and it's not like everyone's clambering. Oh, it's live at 3. Maybe if it's something special, or maybe if it's like something in particular, maybe a bigger club, a bit more. I don't know, but yeah. So I think the next kind of things that you would probably expect to see crop up in that kind of bracket would be general admission tickets, because they will get some. Also, they've got all the fancy tickets, but they'll still have like some clubs don't have fancy bits, for example, So I it feels like that. This is maybe a mechanism where you can redeem, but obviously it can't be mystery tickets, obviously, because you'll need to book everything and whatever. So, and with it being end of season, particularly in Europe, actually, as I'm speaking about this out loud, I'm thinking, well, how can you put tickets on if you're really into the shop, because there'll be no fixtures, there'll be no games or whatever. It is really hard to imagine what else would come into it on top of shirts at the moment, other than just a more robust like offering of just maybe there is mystery shirts, but then maybe you put up, this is the Celtic 2023 champions shirt, full squad signed, and that's up for 100k, and it's just a standalone item, and then if somebody goes and gets it, then whatever, or maybe it's on auction or something, I don't know, but yeah, some sort of further kind of development onto.
There was a great,
I don't know, mate.
Great shout in the chat from Snake Hips, who said that they could make specific club shirt claims only available to people with high collection scores for that team.
Boom.
And I think that would make complete sense on the direction they're taking with these collection scores and stuff like that. Like, give, like
access,
like almost like a multiplier on your coins if you have like 20 of that.
Or a discount.
Yeah, discount or a multiplier. So like if it was like a auction, maybe the multiplier would come in, but like if not, then discount. So it's like makes it easier for people to claim if they have 10 rare.
If you're at 750 points, the price is X for you, but for anyone else, it's that price or something. Or maybe it shows you a discounted price depending on what level you're on for that club.
I like that.
That could be cool.
Or maybe like that they open the claim up to initial claims, say like, oh, we got 10 Celtic jerseys, the price is like 40,000 tokens or something like that, but they stagger it, so like from like today till tomorrow the claim will be open for anyone with a collection score of 750, then it goes to like 500, then it goes down until the shirts are all gone. So like you give priority access, a little bit like like with like tickets for gigs and stuff. If you've got like O2, it's like the O2 Arena. If you're on O2, you can buy the Beyonce ticket the day before everyone else. Similar to that, but with the collection score, like we have these shirts, you get in early. If you're below that, then you have to, you go in with the masses. If there's any left, but like the top collectors of those clubs will have priority access to those top end pieces of merch. But I like that shout, Snake Hips. I think like there's the kind of the weighting they're giving to like collections and stuff at the moment. I feel like that's probably the direction that we could see this go. And like even the Liverpool thing that we got involved in, Quinny, where they went and found people who had like more Liverpool cards weighted versus any other club in their gallery. So it wasn't just the Wales that they were inviting. It was maybe people who play limited, but 40% of their gallery is Liverpool. They got a little nudge from Sorare to invite them down, and things like that. I think the whole point of it is kind of like boosting your fandom of these clubs and stuff like that. And now that they've got access to all these clubs, they're going to find the super fans and the collectors, and it also just like encourages you to become a bit more just of a collector, like not necessarily here to play the game. That's why I think they're calling it the collection game as well. It's not just like, hey, collection score. They might be almost like a completely separate, this is something else you can do with your cards. Like you don't need to play the game, but you can still win if you collect this, and this, like squad building challenges, that kind of on a FIFA thing. But anything else to add on that, Quinny?
No, I think in terms of the shop, like it was good to see it sold out so quickly. It was good to see that at least it did sell out. It wasn't like a crash situation or anything. And again, like we were talking about before we came on, it does feel like they're just doing it as like guinea pig trials kind of thing, in terms of make sure the system works. Did it catch everyone's address? Did it go to the right department? All the automated stuff that's meant to happen. So, yeah, let's hope it all goes smoothly. And nice to see it started already,
Definitely that. Definitely. Anything else off the top of my head that we did have a little, oh yeah. So another thing that came in the update, sorry, was there was a little bit of a touch on the fiat wallet. They mentioned, like people might have seen that, and that all seems to be going very well in that. We touched quite extensively on that last week, so we won't get too into the crux of fiat wallet versus ETH wallet again, because I think we pretty much nailed that last week. If anyone's listening and missed last week's episode, go check that out. We got quite deep into the whole fiat wallet side of the discussion, but there was a little bit of a mention in that in the recent update. So that was good. And Rascal Mizaki in the chat has also reminded me that another thing that came in was the month-long leaderboards that they've announced that they're going to kind of be running some month-long tournaments with special prizes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Pretty interesting. Quinny, are you excited about that? Do you see any bonuses on anything you can add to that, really?
I'm looking forward to the monthly ones, because I think I think it was Nellis. Somebody was mentioning it on a show somewhere, but like the kind of one of the things Sorare misses at the moment with the fantasy game and all the rest of it is that, like that ranking, that kind of that thing that you could just say, oh, I'm a top X player, and it's a kind of universal thing. Everyone, like obviously in FPL, it's like top X thousand, top 10,000, top 100,000 is the kind of like a yardstick that people go, oh, that guy knows this amount about football, or this guy plays that game so well. And the real competitive divisions, it feels like on Sorare, is like all the pro divisions. And it really then depends on what pro division you care about, is what one that you kind of aim and you strive towards. But that doesn't really kind of, let's say, separate the men from the boys. Who's really the big movers and shakers, who punches above their weight, who really does, get good bang for buck on their cards or on their, their player selections, their DNP rates or anything like that, So I think these monthly competitions is probably like, I'm going to really look forward to it, because it will be like something where it will be like, I don't know, like let's say it's going to be, they're probably going to theme it around a division, right? So let's say it's going to be, monthly competition, Champion America, and they might do it, let's say, because of when they're doing it, maybe around that Campeones Cup or whatever it's called, but it's like all of Liga MX and all of MLS are playing each other for a month. Maybe they do it around that, and then it's maybe a bit more themed in terms of the prizes and the cards allowed and all that kind of stuff, right? But I would expect that then to then conclude, and it is like, oh, I was a top 20 player in the monthly, blah, 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 blah. And then anyone playing Champion America is like, oh, that guy finished top 20. Like, if you're like a limited player or something like that, that guy, he really picked his cards well every week, and he did it. And, it's the first kind of step in that way of like, oh, I'm a top 20 Champion America player, I'm a top 50 Champion America player or something, because that monthly competition gives you that controlled element of me versus you over a period of longer than one weekend, where it's me versus you versus the field for a month. There's a bit more, because me just saying, oh, I'm top 20 or I'm number one in the world because I won All-Star this week, like that's old news this week, Whereas the monthly one, and if they're like a tournament kind of thing, then you're waiting for the next iteration of the monthly tournament or whatever. Then you're the reigning top 20, you're the reigning top 100, whatever it might be. So I think that I'm really looking forward to the social aspect of what that brings.
I'd like to see some more different thinking on the way that you select teams in that monthly tournament, because I think if it's just like like it's All-Star, it's rares or limiteds or super, and then each week that's one of your entries, or maybe it's like doubled up and it's like separate from like your regular entries. I don't know, but what I would like to see is almost like select your squad for the next month, and it's like, right, you can pick 10, you have to pick 10 players, a bit like we do with the draft mode, but you have to pick them from your collection as well. So It's like you have to pick 2 goalkeepers, like two defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 forwards, and each week you have to pick a 5-player team from that selection. I think that would be more interesting than just having an extra like, oh, something else I've got to remember to enter at the end of the week, because then it just makes it a bit different. It's like something else to think about, a completely different way to play the game. And also, you know, someone else I think was complaining about it on Twitter that, oh, you know, but then if you sell a player, then you might not be able to use them for the rest of the month. But then I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think the way that everything's going at the moment is to try and like encourage people not to just like chop in and out of cards all the time. Like try and play it long, like build your squad, build your team, treat it like your squad. And yeah, it'd be really, I think that'd be a cool way to play. Another thing I'd love to see, which we did see on Sorare data, was like the cup modes where you get drawn against another manager in like, maybe it's like challenger or it's in your all-star or whatever. It's just like, right, it's a cup knockout. You get drawn against another manager. You can maybe see a snapshot of their collection so you know what you're up against, and then pick like accordingly like your team for the weekend. And it goes in and it knocks players out. And I think that that'd be great, because then you could really have like a proper cup competition between managers, and maybe like lock it within scarcities, take XP out of it, so it's just like a 5v5, try and pick the best team. What do you reckon? I'd love to see that. I thought that was a great thing that Sorare Data built, which we haven't had it for a while. So if anyone from Sorare Data is listening, bring the cups back, please. They were so good.
I like the roster build kind of vibe of it, and then thinking about it more as you're talking, they probably will just have it mirrored all the way up. So there'll probably be a common, unlimited, a rare, a super rare. Don't know if there's quite space to do it. No, I suppose. And I think from something I read or something I heard or whatever, but the sentiment I got was that it wouldn't stop you playing the same cards in All-Star Rare Pro at the weekend or something.
So a bit like a private leagues in that case, where like you enter your team for the private league, but it's not, you know, doesn't take away from you accessing that card to use the proper lineup somewhere else. Yeah.
So I think that kind of drafting your own squad gets into more of the stuff that they're really happy for us to like lean into, and that's like the own your club and, you know, own your, you know, be a club owner, be a scout, all that stuff, because then that's you looking after your team, you're picking your roster. It's the tactics of you knowing, well, this guy's got 3 games this month and this guy's got 5, and that means that blah blah blah, and even though he might not play that game, he'll play that game, and and you're then making those decisions on your squad like a manager would, like anyone building a football squad would. You know, you would think about international football when that happens, is a continental competition on the go. So I think that idea of drafting from your own gallery for it, for however they're actually going to format the thing. Maybe it's scarcity free, and you know, or who knows. But I like that idea. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, be interesting to see what they announce in the I guess we could probably expect an update on that pretty soon. The way they've been rolling the updates out of late, we might get something about that very soon, because they seem to be quite on the ball with their updates at the moment. In a good, so shout out Sorare. It's definitely a welcome boost. We like hearing from the Sorare team as often as possible, and they've been delivering quite a few. They're rolling a lot out at the moment, which I think bodes well for the coming months as they kind of roll out, ready for the big European launch again in a few months' time. Obviously, there's been some issues again with Korean fixture coverage. For anyone that plays Asia, we had a dropout of the Daegu Daejeon game on the weekend. If I'm not mistaken, for anyone, I know we've got quite a few Asia players in the chat, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that Daejeon have lost television coverage a couple of times now. So as someone who plays Asia, it makes me very wary of using any players that are playing against that side. I don't own any Daejeon cards, but anyone playing against Daejeon when they're at home, we've had, I'm pretty sure, 2 dropouts from their home games this season so far. So yeah, they have also announced that there will be a Korea special weekly with shirt rewards and things like that going on soon. So hopefully that will kind of like bring a little bit of a buzz, to a much needed boost to Korean card managers. And that also brings us quite nicely into the fact that Lee Han-bom has his unique ending in 5 minutes. I've been kind of back and forth in it because I hold his other unique, his rookie. I got involved a couple of times in the bidding. I think I'm out of it now. But as the person who holds his original unique, and I think I paid 3 ETH for it at the time, which was a lot. Be interesting to see what this goes for. It's currently sitting at 1.7. 5 minutes to go. Pranksy is in the lead. He's been back and forth winning. I think I kind of got ahead of him a couple of times. He's obviously gone back in and upped his minimum. But yeah, I feel like 1.7 at the current market, the way the market is currently, and obviously with the issues with the Korean coverage, that feels like a pretty decent price for him. Be interesting to see if he does push above 2. I think he's one of those players. He feels to me, maybe because I hold him, but quite a hyped up player by the sort of Sorare community. He's 20 years old. He's kind of established himself as a main starter at Seoul. And be interesting to see where that goes. It'll probably have an instant impact on my gallery value as well. If he goes below 3, I'll be like losing a couple of ETH off the gallery value, like at the click of a finger. But I've been trying to push that price up through the week, bidding against Pranksy. But he's hit the top end of my my wallet now, so I can't even bid against him, and I don't have the funds to try and push that any higher just yet. But if anyone is listening to this, you got 5 minutes to outbid, or 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Rascal saying he's ready to smash this weekend, and I absolutely agree. Lee Hanbom put up a big score the weekend just gone. Good fixture for him this week. Fingers crossed for a massive score. So whoever wins that card could put him straight to use. But yeah, starting to get very aware of Pranksy plays, winning a lot of good cards up against him in all the super rare divisions at the minute, and it is he's building quite a gallery there, so yeah, making it tough. It's not nice to see someone like that winning a Lee Hanbom unique. If I'm trying to play against him, he's just like, it's going to wipe me out. It's going to wipe me out. But yeah, that's a bit of fun. Not the kind of fun that we like to see on the show here on End Product. But yeah, Taylor in the chat, first time chat, welcome, saying that I'd love to get the Janie Bino Gittins unique selling in a day's time.
What's good, doesn't it?
What do we think he goes for? Quinny, what do you
bargain?
You think
about 2? I think he'll go for about 2 or 3.
2 or 3
at the most. Yeah, 2 or 3 for the most. That is a whale card. English wonder kid at Dortmund. Like Wales will look at that and go for that, like your GR Dukes and all the rest of it. So it's not going to go cheap. 2 or 3 ETH probably would be my guess. Maybe 5.
Yeah, I reckon my guess would be 4.7. I'm going to go 4.7. Yeah, I reckon.
Mad guess.
At the minute, if you look at, I'm looking now. So like Bruno Guimaraes, he ends in 2 hours. He's at 6.7, and I think a lot of these prices boil down to who's bidding on them at the moment. Pranksy's in the market. Can you imagine a Pranksy versus JR Duke, where they both really want the card? Could really like. I don't think there isn't a. I think if they want the card, they will go out and get it, and if the two of them find themselves in a bidding war, it can push these prices up. I think Lee Hanbum is going to go for about 1.77. There hasn't been any fresh bids in there. But I reckon Bino Gittins, that could be a 4.75 ETH potentially. There's a Cancelo's unique going. There's a Emil Smith Rowe up there now as well. There's quite a few really nice uniques. Hakim Ziyech, which could be a really good card for next season if he moves. Maxim de Kuiper, that is a great unique. I thought that might fly under the radar a little bit, but no, I expect him to go back to Bruges and smash next season. He's already at 1.12 ETH and it doesn't end for another 3 days. So Taylor in the chat saying that Ziyech is linked back to Ajax with Kudus leaving. That makes sense. Lehan bombs up to 2.5 now. So Rare Italia jumping in 8 seconds to go. I think this is going to go at 2.5 unless Pranksy's at his desktop right now.
It's off.
2.5. I can take that. That's 0.5 ETH off of my gallery value. Sorare Italia is another one of those accounts that has a great gallery as well. So PSU fans apparently bought a Super Ziyech in the week.
Oh, well, Ziyech will be leaving Chelsea, I think, this summer. And if he goes to AC Milan, that's probably the best place he could go. I've heard Sean loosely connect that dot, I think, already. But I think AC Milan would be a great spot for him to go to because they're desperate for somebody like him. But even if he goes into Challenger Europe anywhere, then he's like levels above. You know, he has Tadic basically. You know, at that state, SO5 wise. So going back to Ajax feels like easy peasy if he goes there. But it doesn't feel like he's got a bad move really, unless he goes to Italy outside of AC Milan. Like if he went to Juventus or maybe it's another team will just pay him a lot of money. It might not work out too well, but I think he's probably on for a good move after not playing very much for the last 2 years. He'll probably just want to be on the pitch.
Yeah. Just looking now at the table as well. We mentioned last week, we briefly touched on like who's going to smash next season. Ajax could find themselves in the Conference League, and it's still looking quite likely that could be the case. I think they got Twente this weekend, haven't they? It was either PSV or Ajax. Let's have a look. But yeah, Twente are at home as well, so Ajax have a tough game there. And Twente could. Oh no, they can't. Twente are basically going to finish 5th. So RZ and Ajax are playing for 3rd and 4th place. And actually, Ajax could leapfrog PSV still on goal difference. So PSV will definitely be out to try and win. That's going to be an interesting weekend in the Eredivisie. Emmen are going to be in the playoff for relegation by looks of things. So yeah, Quinny, anything you're looking out for? And at the end of the season, any movers and shakers, ups and downs that you're going to be keeping an eye on moving into this final weekend of fixtures for Europe?
We definitely want to find out who's getting relegated and who's getting into Europe, because that's when we can start to trade our way into the fixture list for next year, you know, thinking about who's got qualifiers and then what managers are maybe leaving. Like I'm hearing earlier today that the Feyenoord guys knocked back Tottenham. So if he's staying at Feyenoord, then maybe there's less upheaval there. Obviously, Kokchu might leave. But anyway, if you're generally in Feyenoord, these things should get kind of thrashed out, and we can start then to really, around certain teams and certain players, forecast ahead. And then that's when we can get excited about people's prices in the market, because a lot of guys are priced in a really unknown state. And the way the market is no one wants to get caught with their pants down. So everything gets put up at a stupid price to make sure that no one gets caught done short on some transfer news or a situation developing. So yeah, that's what I'll be looking forward to by the last weekend or so. We do have fixtures next weekend in some places, but I know this weekend is Germany's last game, Scotland's last game, and I forget 1 or 2 other divisions or whatever. So it's like the penultimate European weekend, I think, of SO5. So, but it's the last one, I think, where we've got them all, obviously, because some have finished.
Definitely. And we've got a few European international fixtures in a couple of weeks as well. So there was a few. I obviously saw the England announcement in the week. So good to see Eberici Eze get the call up. Be interesting to see. I think England have got a couple of winnable fixtures there. So we could see some rotation. Might be an opportunity for some people to get some midweek international utility from cards that haven't had that up to this point. So yeah, going to be keeping an eye on that. We've obviously got the what do they call that? Is it the America's Cup between Liga MX and MLS? That's kicking off.
Joe Ducicott is in the chat. It's called Leagues Cup.
The Leagues Cup. The Leagues Cup. So we've got that. We've got that to look forward to. So there is still some utility outside of, you know, your standard kind of like America, Asia fixture list. Quinny, do you see yourself dipping into the market between now and the start of the new season to pick up any pieces? Are you active in the market at a minute, or are you quite happy to sit tight with where you're at?
Yes to all. So I'm definitely moving some pieces around to get ready for the new season. I've learned I'll be doing it in kind of more, I'll kind of blow this up in some content in a bit more detail, but I'm at that point of really looking back at the season gone and thinking what players let me down, what mistakes did I learn, where was I short, where was I too heavy, And, you know, like next season, you know, because I'm just mad excited about what's going to be going on in the summer. You know, the cash wallet will come out in the summer, like we've referenced already, as well as a lot of the other stuff in the podcast today. But like, I think, you know, every week we know more. Every week they tell us stuff and whatever. And I think the point I'm at now of, let's say, foresight on the next season from what they've told us, not me reading a crystal ball or anything, then I'm definitely excited and motivated enough to make sure that I look at this season, how I've done, and make sure that next season I don't suffer those ills. I win more consistently. I'll get a bit higher, or, you know, whatever the things I'll work out I didn't do as great at, or whatever. You know, like last season, I can say, for example, I ran into too many people in the last summer transfer window chasing Celtic rumours. And thankfully, I won't really need to do that as much anymore, because for this collections thing, like, I really do want these guys wearing hoops.
Yeah.
And trading for them after the fact is a right pain in the arse. So, you know, maybe me buying transfer guys, maybe I don't even bother with that. I just wait for them to come in and get carded with Celtic, you know.
True.
So little things like that. I'm definitely active, but it's kind of housekeeping and a wee bit of restoration after like selling bits off over the last 2 years, you know. So what pieces am I missing and what pieces can I get?
Yeah, it's a good point you make there, actually, about picking up cards on sort of transfer rumors. I definitely did a bit of that last season, mostly on like, this was more towards the end of like the beginning of the Asia season. Actually, I was picking up cards from players who were previously covered clubs who'd gone down but moved back up into J League and stuff like that. And I was picking up like what I thought might be like a little bit more scarce cards for cheap, you know, like the red crosses that I knew were not going to be red crosses for long. But then obviously once you get the new season cards, they get minted, and that card that you spent 70 quid on is now like 8 quid or something like that. It's like, so I think I'm going to try and sit tight, try and be patient. I think I've won some great cards in the last few months. I am probably not going to try and be too reactive on transfer market speculation unless it's goalkeepers. I find it difficult to not get involved in the goalkeeper market. I think there's too much upside on picking up a goalkeeper like ahead of a good move. So that's going to be my main port of call in terms of like scouting. I think looking out for a bargain goalkeeper or two that I can sit, maybe pick up a couple of the floors, wait for that news to break or them to play their first game, and then shift them double price. Good little trading strategy that has been for me in the past. But it's also meant that I've been able to pick up, you know, like sometimes I've kept hold of them, like Rafael, who moved to Sao Paulo this season, was a good example of that. I picked up in limited, rare, super rare, and, you know, put a few of my friends onto him as well, and they managed to pick up like their first goalkeeper card. So if you're in the group chat and you got that Rafael shout, you owe me a beer. He's been putting up clean sheets for fun as well, so he's actually been a really good one to pick up. A bit like Romulo for me as well. Romulo was one of those for me last year when I saw he, you know, was moving to the Chinese Super League. I thought, great, you know, supply ends, but he's still going to be covered, and he's moving to a lesser league, and he's been probably the best card on the platform for the last season. So yeah, just wish I didn't sell one of him. I bought two, sold one for like a 50 quid profit. He's worth about 900 quid profit now, which of course, yeah, been absolutely smashing it. But yeah, I think that's going to be my main port of call over the summer. Try and be patient, maybe pick up a few goalkeepers that are rumored to be moving. But yeah, anyone in the chat that's got any tactics or plans for the summer, let us know. And Quinny, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on that we haven't got into just yet? I know I went through my notes and I've had a look, and we've covered everything that we were kind of talking about off air. But has anything sprung to mind that we haven't covered just yet?
No, I think you're quite right, buddy. I think we've covered all the bases on this one. I'm really excited for obviously seeing the leaderboard drip away before me throughout today, and obviously going into a huge weekend. So it's going to be like a mad Thursday for me, and then it's the deadline tomorrow, and then it's trophy day thereafter, and then we're into this mad weekend that we're sizing up. So it's going to be a crazy 48 hours.
But yeah, man, it's been absolute pleasure chatting, and not just to you, Quinny, but everyone in the chat who's been firing great questions and comments and suggestions at us all over the last hour. Anything else to add, Quinny? I think we've covered a lot this week.
Yeah, no, man, I can't wait to get stuck into it now. You know, ready for the weekend, ready for the penultimate European game, final game for a lot of us, for the Germans and the Scots, certainly. But I look forward to it, Stishy boy. Good luck to yourself, obviously. Good luck to everyone that's tuned in, either live or after we've been live. Thanks to everyone. And yeah, wish me luck for whatever I finish on as well for Friday night reward opening.
That was exactly going to be my closing statement. Good luck, Quinny, and we'll be keeping an eye out for that Man United lineup this evening, and keeping an eye on Wan-Bissaka if he does play. Nice one, everyone. Quinny, always a pleasure, never a chore. Gang, have a great weekend, and we will see you back same time next week. Cheers, everyone.